What up, YouTube? Judges and me back at y'all with another video. In today's video, we'll be looking at the greatest champions in the history of the UFC in each weight class, like George St. Pierre and John Jones, and comparing them to the modern day champions like Islam Makhachev and Alex Pereira. And I'll be giving my prediction on how these hypothetical matchups could play out, starting with the flyweight division, Alejandro Pantoja versus Demetrious Johnson, the two greatest flyweights of all time. Starting with Pantoja's keys to victory. First off, he has to have a grapple-heavy game plan. As good as his skills are on the feet and have been developing, I would give the edge to Mighty Mouse on the feet. Mighty Mouse is overall better with the kickboxing, better with the Muay Thai, and just overall better on the feet and more experienced. So, although Pantoja's striking has developed, he does have a bit of power for the division. He has to stick to a grapple-heavy game plan. Next up, he has to weaponize his toughness. He's maybe the toughest fighter in the history of the 125-pound division. His chin is very solid. He's had 35 fights and 30 victories, 5 losses. And he's never been finished in any of those 5 losses. So if he can make this fight into a dogfight, if he can make this into something that DJ isn't familiar with, similar to the first Moreno fight, DJ's never really had a back and forth, hyper competitive fight like that. The Cejudo one was competitive, but it wasn't competitive in the sense it was a dogfight. So if he can make it a dogfight, that would benefit him. And don't be afraid to make it boring. If he has to sit on the back of Mighty Mouse for a whole round, he can do that. Because he has the threat of the jiu-jitsu, the super high-level jiu-jitsu. And if he can ride out a round, that's only one of 3 he needs to win. Looking at Mighty Mouse's keys to victory. First off, he has to focus on banking rounds. You only need to win 3 rounds in this fight, and finishing Pantoja is very hard. It's never been done before. Finishing him on the ground would be very hard. And on the feet, Mighty Mouse has decent power, but not insane power, especially for the 125 division. Not many guys have power. And Mighty Mouse is pretty small for the division as well. And Pantoja is insanely tough. So he has to focus on winning rounds. And next up, he has to target the body. Pantoja's chin is very good, like I said. And if he targets the body, he could slow him down over the fight. Pantoja's cardio isn't insanely good. It's more his grit and his determination that gets him through these 5-round fights. And if Mighty Mouse can target the body, he can slow him down. He can really hurt him, and maybe he can get the finish through the body attacks. And finally, he needs to keep the fight standing if he wants the best chance of winning. Pantoja's a very good grappler. If DJ can neutralize the threat and keep the fight on the feet, it would benefit him and overall give him a better chance of winning the fight. So my official prediction for this fight would be Demetrious Johnson by 49-46 decision. And I think it could be pretty easy for him. Pantoja doesn't have a lot of threat on the feet. Maybe he could fluke a big right hand. Like the knockdown he got on Moreno, maybe he could do that. But I don't see Mighty Mouse getting finished. I can see Pantoja winning a round, maybe 2, but I think if DJ keeps the fight standing, it's his to lose. And yeah, the greatest flyweight of all time, Demetrious Johnson. And that would make it 1-0 for the past fighters. So let's get into the Bantamweight division. Merab Dvalishvili. Now, although Dominic Cruz is probably the second greatest Bantamweight of all time outside Merab, I don't think it would be as challenging as a matchup against TJ Dillashaw. I think this would be Merab's toughest matchup in the history of the Bantamweight division, a prime TJ Dillashaw. So let's get into it. The keys to victory for Merab. Do what Merab does, maraud guys, you weaponize the cardio, takedown after takedown, mix in the striking, and this would maximize his chance of winning. Also, attack with a level of caution. Dillashaw has power, but like guys that Merab has fought, like O'Malley, who have that pop, Dillashaw's got smaller arms, he's a smaller frame, so he doesn't have to wind up like O'Malley does. So it could be tricky for Merab, but as long as he stays safe, yeah, he has to also play. It's a 5-round fight. Play to that as he does. You only need to win 3 rounds. If he doesn't get the finish, Merab isn't a guy that often gets finishes. So he has to bank rounds. And yeah, let's get on to Dillashaw's keys to victory. He has to keep his back off the cage. If Merab and those Caucasus wrestling guys, they're able to chain takedowns together and get you on the cage and take you down and mat return you and try and get submissions, get ground and pound off the cage. If he's able to keep away from the cage and keep the center of the octagon, it'll maximize his chance of winning. Also, the reason that's hard against Merab is because the cardio and the pressure that Merab puts on guys. Dillashaw has very good cardio. So that would be interesting to see if he can keep the center of the octagon. And he has to bank the early rounds. He has to win those early rounds against Merab. Merab, although has seemed to be a slow start in his recent fights, he's been winning the first rounds. Against O'Malley, he won that first round. He arguably won it against Umar. He lost it against Sandhagen, but we'll see how he does against Petr Yan. But if Dillashaw can win the early rounds and make Merab, threaten Merab, make Merab need to win those later rounds, it could play into the third point. He can find the big shots. If Merab's impatient, if Merab is reckless, Dillashaw can wing a right hand or wing a left hand that can drop Merab and win a round or finish him even. So Dillashaw is a very tricky matchup for the Bantamweight GOAT. However, my official prediction would be a unanimous decision, 48-47, close for Merab, but it would be a 48-47 in the sense that Merab got those 3 rounds. Although it's super competitive, I think Merab would win this fight. And I think Merab, if he beats Petr Yan this weekend, is a top 5 fighter of all time. And I think he will beat Petr Yan this weekend. So yeah, nothing bad on Dillashaw's front, but Merab's the Bantamweight GOAT. And I think he would win this matchup. That would make it 1-1 from the past to present fighters. It's out of 8 weight classes. Moving into the third one, Featherweight, Alexander Volkanovski. Now, Volk has fought 3 out of the 4 other Featherweight champions. He's fought Aldo, he beat him. He fought Max 3 times, he beat him all 3 times. And he fought Ilia and lost. Now, Ilia's the champ at 155. And Max, he's fought a lot of times. And Aldo, he's also fought. And a lot of people do that matchup. But I don't think it's that interesting. So I'm going to go with Prime Conor McGregor. I think this is an interesting match. Current Volk versus Prime McGregor. UFC 193, I believe it was, against Aldo. So let's get in the keys to victory for Volk. He has to use the low kicks. You saw the low kicks were used against McGregor against Poirier, and they did a lot of damage in that fight. Arguably won him the second fight and the third fight to an extent. So Volk's able to apply the low kicks, make Conor's dehabilitate Conor's movement. That would be a step in the right direction. Secondly, he can wrestle when needed. You saw it against Yair. He landed about 7 takedowns, and Yair's similar to McGregor, a predominant, insanely good striker. And maybe Conor's defensive wrestling is better than Yair's, but if Volk's able to mix up the wrestling with the striking, with the low kicks, he can set Conor back. Lastly, he has to drag McGregor into deep waters. This version of McGregor didn't have great cardio, although McGregor's never really had insane cardio. If he's able to wrestle him, dehabilitate the legs, time the shots perfectly, like Volk usually does, and have the fight go longer, this could be this is the way Volk wins. Now let's get on to Conor McGregor, the keys to victory. Put Volk on the back foot immediately. If Volk's on the back foot, he's going to be going. His strikes are going to be less damaging. It's going to be harder for him to shoot takedowns. It's going to be harder for him to have power and the leg kicks and all that. And he has to make him hesitate with the timing. Volk's timing is very good. I think the best timing in the history of the sport. But you've seen against guys like Ilia, he hesitates. Sometimes he gets caught. You saw it against Lopez. He got caught with one of the exits. And if Conor can make Volk uneasy, second-guess himself, he can catch him. And thirdly, he has to chase the knockout. He's not going to win a decision against Volk. He's not going to be able to sub Volk. He has to knock Volk out. So ultimately, a prime McGregor versus current Volk. I think I'll go with Conor McGregor by round 2 knockout. I may be a Conor glazer, but I'm also a Volk glazer. So there's a battle of like two of my favorite fighters of all time. I think against the current Volk, a slower Volk, you saw against Lopez, he got dropped. And I think if Conor's able to drop you, Lopez is a blockhead, bro. I'm gonna just say it how it is. He's fun and everything, but he's a blockhead. If a prime McGregor's in there with you and you're getting dropped by Lopez, I'm sorry, Volk, but it's done. Conor McGregor by knockout. A prime McGregor at 45 would take this one. This would be 2-1. The past over the present. Now, the next fight, the lightweight division, the current champion Ilia Topuria. Now, you may say Islam Makhachev is a lightweight GOAT, but I've already match-made him for a welterweight fight. So, the lightweight Ilia will be facing is Khabib Nurmagomedov. Let's get into it. The keys to victory for Ilia: keep his back off the cage. Again, these Caucasus guys, they press you, they chain wrestle. Against Khabib especially, he loves the cage. He can trip you, use the judo, use the ground and pound, use the threat of the submission. And Khabib is massive, so he doesn't want to have his back on the cage. Second, use low kicks. You saw it in the Justin Gaethje fight. Khabib was rattled by those massive low kicks from Gaethje. Ilia has very good low kicks as well. You saw it against Josh Emmett. You saw it against Volk even. You saw it against Holloway. He's able to use these low kicks to stop these strikers, and they're super effective. And third off, he has to find the chin of Khabib. The power that Ilia has, especially at 155, is devastating. If he's able to find the chin with the very slick boxing that he has, he could get Khabib out of there. But let's get on to Khabib. The keys to victory: chain wrestle against a cage wall. This is where he thrives. He can pin Ilia down, he can beat him up, he can submit him. And that's the next point: apply ground damage and pressure. And the third point, overwhelm Ilia with size. Khabib is a massive lightweight. Ilia isn't even a massive featherweight. So there'll be a pretty big size difference in this matchup. If Khabib's able to wear with the damage, with the ground and pound, with the pressure, with the submission threat, there could be a bad night for Ilia. But overall, the official prediction for this fight, this would be super insane. This will be one of the most high-level fights of all time. But I will go with Ilia Topuria by round 3 knockout. We will knock out Khabib Nurmagomedov. But this is a super fascinating fight. But I just think Ilia has the wrestling to win. I think the striking, the power that he has will just be, eventually he'll just lead him to a knockout. His boxing is insanely good, and I think he'll be able to survive the onslaught of Khabib. Good cardio, good chin. That's tying it up 2-2 for the current versus the past. Now let's get into the welterweight division. The current champion Islam Makhachev against George St. Pierre, the greatest welterweight of all time. Let's get into it. Keys to victory: use leg kicks to disrupt the movement. You saw it against JDM. The leg kicks, the calf kicks worked very, very well in that fight. And you use the clinch to deal damage. You saw Islam against a lot of dudes. He's used the clinch to not only get takedowns, but with those knees do a lot of damage. And he could mess GSP up on the feet with that, cause a lot of damage with those knees, and he has to impose his will. This is a very, very close fight, super high level. Talking about two division champions right here. Some of the best fighters of all time, in my opinion, 2 of the guys on the Mount Rushmore. So whoever imposes their will in moments and wins moments of this fight will, if it goes to the judges' scorecards, is super important. Now, the keys to victory for GSP: use feints to control the fight. GSP is insanely good at the feint game, using feints, making his opponent second guess. Pressured and take down Islam. Look, they talk about Islam as the grappler. GSP was the OG wrestler. Back in the day, people used to hate on GSP for holding dudes down. And you heard Joe Rogan say, man, this skill, man, is super impressive. And now he's doing it with guys these days. But regardless, GSP had, until Merab, the most takedowns in UFC history. He has, I believe, a top 3 of the highest percentage on takedowns. He's super good at taking people down and holding them down and not getting caught in submissions. And we haven't really seen Islam off his back throw up submissions recently. So that would be super interesting to see. And lastly, user cardio and title fight experience. How many 5-round fights has GSP had? I think upwards of like 10 have went the distance. So he's got insane experience in this fight, in this setting. Islam has what? 3 fights that have reached the 5th round. So the experience clearly lies in GSP's court, and the IQ in this setting, as well as the cardio. We don't really know how good Islam's cardio is at 170. He didn't tire out against Jack, although that wasn't an insanely taxing fight, and this one will be. So it's super interesting to see. Prime for prime, 2 Mount Rushmore guys, and my official prediction for this fight would be a George St. Pierre split decision, 48-47 on 2 judges' scorecards. This fight comes down to like the thinnest of margins, but I think GSP would just about win. I think there'll be a round where it's either Islam with his grappling and some of his clinch work against GSP's just striking and his feints and the pressure and the pace that he puts on. This would be a super close fight, super competitive. This would be a treat to watch. Regardless, GSP up 3-2 past the present. The OGs are winning this. Now let's get on to the middleweight division. Arguably the greatest grappler in the history of the sport, Khamzat Chimaev, against the greatest middleweight of all time, arguably the best striker in the history of the sport, Anderson Silva. Grappling versus striking. Chimaev's key to victory: shoot takedowns immediately. And his second one, don't try Silva on the feet. These go hand in hand. You do not want to be on the feet with Anderson Silva, the greatest striker of all time. Chimaev striking has been alright in moments, but even in the DDP fight, the moments I was on the feet, he did look sort of uncomfortable, even though he was trying to prove something in those moments that he could hang with a world-class guy like DDP on the feet. He probably shouldn't do it against Silva, and his takedowns, he can just shoot takedowns from halfway across the octagon and get him. And Silva's defensive wrestling isn't great, so the takedowns that he's landed on guys like Robert Whittaker and Kevin Holland that he shot from a mile away, he could probably get on Silva. And make it boring if necessary. If he has to repeat the DDP fight, he can. If he gasses out trying to hunt for a submission early for no reason when Silva's playing defense, like Dricus did, he doesn't want to gas out. So let's get into Anderson Silva's key to victory. Stay off the cage wall. You know it with these Dagestani guys. They love the cage. If he can keep it in the center of the octagon, even if he gets taken down, it's substantially better because he can lay down. And this goes into the second point. Play safe, but make Khamzat work. Khamzat has to work. This is similar to the DDP fight. You can't just let him lay on top of you. It's sort of hard because the guy's cardio isn't trash, but it's been not great before. So if you're making the guy work, but you're still being safe, keeping a good position, and ultimately waiting for him to tire out, that could be beneficial later in the fight. And lastly, look for a late knockout. DDP almost got a rear naked choke in the 5th round. If Silva's able to stop and tire Chimaev out by the 5th round, he'll pick him apart on the feet. Chimaev's takedowns, you saw it against Usman, even though Usman's a very good wrestler. A lot of them got sloppy when he got tired. And if Silva's able to stop those takedowns and get a knockout late, that would be his way to victory. But my official prediction for this fight would be a Khamzat Chimaev unanimous 50-44 decision. I just think it'd be too much. You saw it in the DDP fight. What else does Silva have to offer? If probably a worse defensive wrestling, maybe a bit better jiu-jitsu, but overall, I think it'll play out very similarly. Maybe it would be a first-round submission, but I think Silva would probably have a similar game plan to Dricus, which is really the only game plan you have, is just take bottom position, try and play safe, because you're not going to be able to stop the guy because he's absolutely insane at getting takedowns. Regardless, Chimaev, that's 3-3, it ties it up. Moving on to the light heavyweight division, the second last one, Alex Pereira, what a great guy. Alex Pereira versus John Jones. This fight could happen in real life in the heavyweight division. But this is prime John Jones, kid. This ain't no fat old dude. So let's get into the keys to victory. Alex Pereira has to apply pressure immediately, like he did to Ankalaev. Put him on the back foot. Neutralize a lot of the offense, a lot of the damage that could happen. And ultimately, increase whatever Alex does. Because you saw it in the first fight with Ankle if he wasn't able to do much on the back foot. Second up, mix up the striking. Go with the low kicks, then the high kicks, then the jabs to the body, set up the left hooks, traditional Alex Pereira stuff. Thirdly, capitalize on a mistake Jon Jones has made and get the knockout. Very traditional Alex Pereira game plan. Avoid the ground, get the strikes. He's one of the best strikers of all time. He has insane power. And apply the pressure and make Jones make a mistake. But the keys to victory for Jones, keep the distance on the feet. Jones's reach, even in this fight against Alex Pereira, who is huge, has massive wingspan. Jones has, I believe, a pretty significant reach advantage. I think a 5-inch reach advantage, which is insane. Keep the distance on the feet. Nextly, get the fight to the ground. You don't want to be on the feet with Alex Pereira. Even though Jon Jones is a pretty good kickboxer, Alex Pereira is arguably the best in the world at the weight class. Do not mess with Alex Pereira on the feet. Try and get him to the ground and look to smash and submit Alex Pereira as soon as he can. And that's Jones's game plan. Pretty simple on both sides. Alex Pereira's got to go for the knockout. Jones has got to get it to the ground and beat up and submit. But my official prediction for this fight, and it's pretty similar to how it would be in real life, prime Jones or not. I think it's pretty similar. I think a second round submission from Jones is likely. I think in the first round, he'll be feeling out. Maybe he takes him down, he smashes him with some elbows, but I think Pereira will play it safe. And I don't think Jones will be able to do enough damage. But in the second round, he'll probably get him down, probably a bit earlier than he did in the first round, and he'll really start doing damage, and Pereira will probably give up the neck, and it'll be too late. Jones by submission in the second round. And now the final, that's 4-3 for the past versus the present. To either win it or tie it up, the heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall versus the most accomplished heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic. The keys to victory for Aspinall, use kicks to keep Stipe on edge. You saw it in the Gane fight, very effective, even though he was losing. That's because Gane and Stipe are very different. Gane's much more elusive on the feet, Stipe's more of a boxer. If Aspinall can use kicks, keep him at distance, use low kicks, use high kicks, keeps Stipe honest, it can be effective. Next up, mix up the striking with the wrestling. Aspinall has very good jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt, and you saw against Volk, he was able to take him down pretty easily. Even though Stipe's wrestling and defensive jiu-jitsu and submission defense is quite good, if he's able to mix it up, it'll open up things on the feet and the ground, and make a clearer path to victory for Aspinall, and use speed to cover distance for the knockout. Tom Aspinall is probably faster than anyone Stipe has ever fought. The speed of this man is like a welterweight. The only guy that you can compare it to is Cyril Gane. I know in that last Gane fight he didn't look great, but that's what it is. Gane is a very different opponent to Stipe. In some ways, Stipe, is a harder matchup with the wrestling, but also maybe has a better chance of knocking him out. Who knows? We'll see. The keys to victory for Stipe: keep a safe distance early. Aspinall's best chances of winning, from what we've seen, have come from early finishes and knockouts. So the longer the fight goes on, the more it plays into Stipe's hand. And look for Aspinall to leave his chin up. A lot of times Aspinall wings overhands with his chin high up and throws 1-2s and big shellies with his chin on a silver platter. If Stipe is able to capitalize, land a nasty Cleveland right hook on Aspinall, could send him flying across the octagon. And lastly, be patient and let the fight play out. From what we've seen, Aspinall hasn't went the distance, so not to assume anything, but he probably performs better earlier in the fight. And Stipe is probably the best 5-round fighter in the history of heavyweight MMA, maybe besides Cain Velasquez. So the longer the fight plays out, the naturally more it benefits the more experienced Stipe Miocic. And my official prediction for this last fight is Tom Aspinall by second round knockout. I just think the speed of Aspinall is a whole different ball game. Very similar to the Ngannou fight, except it's more speed trade-off for power. But I still think Aspinall's power is very, very good, especially when he lands flush and clean. And I think his speed will just be too much for Stipe, and I'm picking him to win by second round knockout in this hypothetical matchup. That makes it ties it up 4-4, past versus present. And yeah, I thought that'd be a pretty fun video to make. It just shows you how good the champions we have are now. These are the best fighters in the history of the sport I'm getting from these divisions. And it ties up 4-4. But anyway, like, subscribe, do all that fun shit. I'll make a UFC 323 reaction or fights to make video. We've got some big videos planned for next week. Hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, yeah, whatever. Catch y'all in a bit.